Now, I'm seeing this question pop up a lot. Why is the Asian community so quiet on the ICE raid topic? Now, I'm not speaking for all Asian people, but this is just my point of view. My family's from Laos. My parents spent years in refugee camps before being able to come here legally. So a lot of us from a very young age was taught accountability. We were getting lectures after lectures after lectures on doing the right thing. Getting our ass beat for doing wrong things. So there are a lot of Asian people that are for deportations of, illegals. And not everybody, okay? Not all Asian people are for it, but I see most of us are. And we understand why you want to come here illegally and skip the process. People just want to live good lives, do better for themselves. But there is a right way of doing things. So if you do come here illegally and get caught, you need to take accountability for your actions. That's why a lot of times if you see an Asian person get deported, we don't make a big fuss about it because, they got to take accountability for their actions. And they know that. We don't have hate towards law enforcement because, they're just doing their part. They're just doing their jobs because they didn't do their part. And we do feel terrible about, or at least I do feel terrible about, families being ripped apart. But, they know the risk involved and they were willing to take that risk. Again, you got to take accountability.
So the reason many Asians are quiet during ICE raids and the ICE protest is because they were raised to just accept it. That's one perspective, but it's not the only one. In today's video, we are hearing directly from Asians themselves on why so many are silent, and trust me, the reasons might surprise you. So let's get into it. Hello guys, and welcome back to Trending Pulse Worldwide, where we unpack real, unfiltered stories from around the world. And if you're new here, my name is Amy, and kindly hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so that you don't miss out on any trending stories. So let's get into it.
Why are so many Asian Americans so silent right now? That's because they didn't vote. Yes, they didn't vote because they didn't like Kamala from their internal misogyny or internal racism and felt indifferent enough about the orange man so that they thought that a no vote was going to the orange man. So the reason why they're not upset right now is because they voted for this. That's why. And that's not me excusing their behavior. I am a disabled person. I was advocating for Kamala before the election, so I had the chance to talk to a lot of my friends. They're not my friends anymore, but people in my life about how this election was going to affect me and people like me. And if they cared about me, why they should vote for Kamala. And they still didn't care. They couldn't care less because at the end of the day, it was all about taxes. Yeah, their tax break. The problem is Asians that have a level of wealth feel this closeness to white people because white people were the only ones that had that level of wealth for so long that they feel like they're getting a chance to be part of the white club, but they're not. And if I could give an insight into maybe why Asians are like this, it's because a lot of our parents and like even my generation as a millennial, we have seen our mother countries very impoverished. Like for me, I'm Korean, so I know South Korea's history. Like South Korea was fully bankrupt in the 80s and saw their first economic boom in the 2000s. It hasn't been that long, and they're in like the top 20 GDP in the world now. That level of wealth growth, normal citizens see that and think, oh my God, if I'm just smart enough and if I invest correctly, I can also get there. And if you look at South Korea, it's an oligarchy. That country is ran by like 3 families, and the main one is the Samsung family. And they have so many scandals. They have done some bad stuff, and the country just lets them get away with it. And if you look at the election turnout, it shows that South Koreans are starting to wake up to the state of like, oh, we're an oligarchy. But Korean Americans, look at the past of Korea, see that you can still succeed, feel like there's a privilege of being in America, utilize the model minority method, and then try to enter the 1%. They think that they could break into the 1%. Wake up. You're not. You're not white enough. You will never be white enough. They will never accept you.
This is the first layer, political detachment, and some in the community feel untouched by the system, so they don't engage with it. But that doesn't mean the system won't eventually come for them. And ICE has deported plenty of Asians, from Cambodians to Filipinos to South Asians, so silence doesn't equal safety.
So I'm actually seeing the topic on why Asians don't speak up when it comes to a protest or speaking up for our rights, because they honestly do not think they're a minority. A lot of Asians live under that whitewashed world, and that comes from me speaking from experience. as a Vietnamese woman with black kids, I've heard every racial slur there is. Why are you with a black man? Your kids are gonna be dark. Your kids are gonna be like charcoal. Majority of Asian people are Trump supporters. They don't speak up. They don't fight. They don't speak on the situation. They don't even like talking about the situation. And when they do, they sound stupid and ignorant. They don't like doing that because in their mind, they're white. Majority of Asians feel the whiter the skin, the better. And that's all I'm going to say on that. That's why they don't speak up. That's why they don't make a scene when it comes to fighting for our rights. Because they think this is not going to affect them. As if 12 Vietnamese nail techs just didn't get deported because they're illegal immigrants. So let's be clear on why this is happening and who it's happening to, because it's just not Mexicans, okay?
Well, this is hard to hear, but she's being honest. That proximity to whiteness is real, and it's part of the model minority myth. And that myth makes some Asians feel immune to injustice. But the truth, ICE doesn't care about your degree or salary. If you're undocumented, you're still a target. And if you're staying silent thinking you're above it all, you could be next.
Well, I get my fellow Asian community and where they're coming from when they say like, oh, like, where were you guys to help us when we got hate crime in 2020 and when we were getting racist remarks because of COVID? Like, I understand it and I get where they're coming from, but it's like we can't stay petty about that. Like the Asian TikTok creators that like aren't saying anything, and like the community that's like staying quiet, it's not doing anything. Like we gotta help out, bro. Like ICE taking away people from their families is fucking crazy, bro. Come on now, can't stay quiet.
Now, in this video, he's saying that Asians feel like this isn't their fight because when they were being attacked, no one showed up for them. And the resentment didn't come out of nowhere. Back in 2020, so many Asians were targeted, shoved, and a lot of people stayed silent. And now, when the same system is coming for other communities, some are asking, why should we care? Before I continue, there's this first clip where the man was saying they were taught accountability, and that is the reason why they are not being bothered and they are not participating in the protest. And he was saying that most Asians have been raised with a strict cultural respect for authority. And if you are undocumented and deported, you are taught don't cause a scene, don't protest, just go quietly. And that is the reason why they are not being part of the protest. But you know, silence doesn't equal peace. It often just makes you invisible until it's too late. And yes, accountability is important, but when the system itself is broken, blind obedience doesn't protect you. It just leaves you defenseless. So those are the many reasons why the Asians are saying they are being silent on the ICE protest. Some are silent because they think it doesn't apply to them. Some stay quiet because they feel betrayed. Others comply because that is what they were raised to do. And some truly believe that staying invisible is safer than being seen. But you know what? Injustice doesn't skip you because you're just quiet. It just delays its visit. And if you're only fighting for your own people, you'll always be alone when it's your turn. And the real power comes when communities stand together, even if the pain isn't shared equally. So guys, with that entire conversation, drop your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to like, share, and also subscribe for more real talks just like this here on Trending Pulse Worldwide. Thank you so much for sticking around and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!